So welcome back to part two on this week's radio/podcast here on Come and See Inspirations. My name is Shane Ambrose, delighted to have you with us on the programme this week. So on this week's podcast and programme, we are going to talk to two guests about what was a very active summer for youth ministry at a diocesan level here in Limerick Diocese. Delighted to welcome to the programme, first of all, Jade McMahon, who's one of the youth leaders on various groups from Abbeyfield side. Jade, how are we keeping?
Good, yeah.
Very good. And in the background, keeping things on the show, on the road, is James Connery, who is the Director of Youth Ministry and Faith Development in Limerick Diocese. James, welcome to the programme. Welcome back to the programme. How are we keeping?
Good, Shane, and thanks for having us. Much appreciated.
Well, anything at all. So people, I suppose one of the ideas was just we're heading into September. People are kind of wondering just what's going on around the place. We have the Limerick Diocesan Assembly is coming up on the 4th of October, which has been held in the Castletroy Park. And so hopefully pastoral councils and so on and so forth will be communicating with people about that and bringing people along. But we also wanted to touch base and see just what's going on or what was happening with youth ministry across the diocese over the summer. And it was a busy summer. Now, I touched on part of it because I took myself to Lourdes in June. And then it seemed just, James, you guys had a very busy couple of weeks after that. You went from Lourdes to where?
Well, we went from Lourdes down to Ballyferret or in the Dingle Peninsula for 2 weeks and then on to Rome after that. But I suppose prior to the summer tends to end some of the programmes and start others. So at the very beginning of the summer, we had 30 young people attend the Donald Walsh Retreat Day in Knock, which is a fantastic event each year. And that's normally held around May time. And then we had been working with a group of sixth-years prior to their exams as a support group for the year. So they finished up just at the end of May, beginning of June with a lovely mass to wish them well in their exams. So then it was on to Lourdes, where we had 80 young people from around the diocese go as helpers with the assisted pilgrims. I think the diocese took close on 250, 300 people as part of the pilgrimage. Then down to Kerry, which we have the brew for 2 weeks. And over the 2 weeks, we had close on 195 young people attend at different stages to record. I suppose creating a community of being together, out in the open, away from everything else, and just providing an opportunity for them to become part of a community that's greater than themselves. And then, as you mentioned, we took a group of 30 to Rome for the Jubilee of Youth the last week in July.
Right, that was a busy event-based program, to say the least. So let's break that down a small bit. Jade, you were involved with Lourdes and you were involved with Rome. So I'm not going to ask you to pick your favourite. What I'm going to say to you is, give me two of your highlights.
I suppose two of the highlights, like you said, it'd be impossible to pick one pilgrimage over the other. They both offer such different things, I suppose. My highlight in Lourdes would definitely be the opening mass every year in St. Joseph's. That's like the highlight. It's such a lovely thing where we all just get together the start of the week and you get to see who's there, who's come back after a year, because some people you don't get to see them all throughout the year apart from that week in Lourdes. I mean, we're all together in Limerick, how close are we? And then we have to go to Lourdes to actually meet to the south of France. So that's lovely. It's really special to get to see everybody. And the highlight in Rome for me would be, I suppose it would be like a highlight and also a low point as well, was the overnight sleep out in Tor Vergata. The highlight was, I suppose, it just showed us how lucky we are to be living where we are, and how comfortable we have it. I mean, in a way, it was like you were out under the stars, nothing protecting you, only a blanket. Um, and you got your little food parcels and everything. There was no nice hot bed at home for you, no kettles or anything like that. But then to see the Pope and get Mass the following morning was just absolutely amazing, and be with 1.2 million other Christians was absolutely amazing, like once in a lifetime experience.
Definitely, I can empathise with that, and we'll come back to Rome and Tor Vergata in a while. So, but on the Lourdes first, on the Lourdes side of it first, there was 80 that went out. So I suppose, Jade, you were one of the youth leaders. So kind of explain to people, what does that entail for the few days that you're in Lourdes? What is it that the youth actually do? Because we have to kind of say, when the booking for that opens up, it goes very, very quickly. And James corrects me, but there's usually a waiting list.
Absolutely. Every year there's a waiting list. Now, for some reason, we've been able to get everybody on it. So, I mean, obviously people jump and apply straight off. And by the time it comes around, whether it's exams or whether it's other issues, there's a fall off from the initial application. And we do try and ensure that we get everybody that has applied to go to Lourdes.
But Jade, from your point of view, like, what is it that takes 80 youngsters to the south of France to Lourdes? And kind of, if you think about it, it's not, it's very countercultural in terms of what people's expectation of young people is, and particularly when it comes to faith today.
Yeah, I suppose it's unbelievable what they do out there, and to see how kind and how giving they are. Because like you said, it's completely the opposite of what we have young people written off to be now. Like the week that they're over there, they're there to help the elderly and to help the sick over there. And they interact so well with those patients that we carry on the trip here from Limerick. And it's lovely to see them making little connections with them. Like, let's say there might be somebody there from Newcastle West, and we have a young person from Newcastle West, and they make their little connections then, and their friendships then last throughout the week and everything. And it's really, really lovely. What draws them there? That's the question. And it's very, very hard to explain to somebody who hasn't been to Lourdes what draws people back. Because like I was there 4 years now, and people say, well, have you not had enough of it? And I said, well, no, because you can't describe the feeling that you have that week. It's just an absolute wholeness. You just feel so fulfilled, so happy, so grateful. And I think that's what draws the young people there. Like, they come home and they start describing it to other young people, and that's what wants to bring them back. Like, we realise how lucky we are and what a wonderful life that we have, and that draws people back then. And it's a great place of healing for people. Like, you can go there broken to Lourdes, you can go absolutely broken and come back then with a sense of healing. Like, they make fantastic friendships. The friendships that they make with other youngsters is just unbelievable. Like, I know myself, they're all still in contact. They've their group chats going, and they're making connections. Then they're going here, there and everywhere, and little day trips and things like that. And it's great that they can meet other young people who are like-minded, who have faith also, and who they can explore and chat about their faith with each other.
It's creating those bonds of community, which of course is so important in many ways, because I suppose that's one of the challenges at the moment. Is that I think, James, it's fair to say youth ministry in the diocese is quite focused in terms of the schools at the moment, and in terms of events. While we're working towards parish, it is quite difficult to sustain it in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose young people have so much on these days, but the focus has been within the diocese on events, and we'd certainly love to be able to move a little bit more towards something that sustains young people throughout the week. Obviously, we try and do that via social media with some Instagram posts and things like that, just to remind them that we're still here. One thing we did last year, I think, and we'll probably do it again this year, is that we had a Winter Wellness Wednesday, which we tried to get young people to engage with our Instagram posts and come together as a group themselves, or how just to get over the winter, I suppose, and deal with some of the issues that a winter might present. But yeah, look, you're right. It's event based at the moment for the most part, and we certainly would welcome communities or parishes to come back to us and say, look, we really have a graph for trying to provide something for our young people in this particular area, and we'd have no issue going and trying to ensure that that happens.
But also, of course, it's to be fair as well, James, I suppose, looking back from my own time when I was involved with youth ministry in Limerick Diocese, things have changed over the last 25 years, both in terms of the context of the young people, but also safety and the procedures that have to be put in place as well, because you're dealing with young people, and we have to be very conscious of that side of things as well. And also, I suppose it's fair to say, James, it's not something necessarily that would apply to all parishes, because it very much depends on the demographic of the parish as well. I remember that point coming out a number of years ago when Mary I did an analysis of the census on top of the parishes of the diocese, and very clearly saying that some parishes, it was a silver parish, as opposed to a youth parish. So it very much depends on context specific.
Absolutely. I mean, and that I suppose you're right. Not every parish is going to have enough young people to be able to cater to have a group, but I suppose it's being able to offer them something. And I suppose from what we've seen of the young people, they are looking for something. A lot of the time their community now is online, or it's in social media. But from what I've experienced, particularly over the various programs we've run throughout the summer, they get so much from the face-to-face interaction that people think that it is all online, but it's not. They put the phones aside. They really do engage with each other. They have the conversations, whether it's with themselves or whether it is intergenerational, like in Lourdes, where you've got the various generations coming together, and they can learn so much from each other. So, yeah, look, yes, social media is a big part of their life, but they do tend to crave that face-to-face interaction and just to have the chats.
Which, of course, helps partially, I suppose, explain, I won't say the success, but the attraction of heading down to Slayhead in the Gráige Gaeltacht for 2 weeks in the middle of nowhere to brew the Gráige. So for listeners that mightn't be familiar with it, of course, James, this has been going on now since 1978, 77?
Well, I'm not going to contradict your memories, Jade. It started with Connery Hall Liston way back then as a refuge to take young people down to get away from and to experience something different, I suppose. And while yes, it's in the middle of the Gráige Gaeltacht, there is a piece where we do try and promote some aspects of the Irish language while we're there. But for the most part, there's a piece of, as I mentioned earlier on, that creating that sense of just community, of being away, and just interacting with each other. Cell cover, our phone coverage isn't the best down there at the best of times, so that makes it an easy win for us. But look, you create a sense of being in an area of absolutely natural beauty, where and that's what we certainly try and get across to them. This is an experience that you may not get again, in that trying to identify what's there for them, and they might go down themselves some other stage and just drive past it and not recognize it. But we'll have morning prayer down in Dunquin, or we'll go to the Blasket Centre, or we'll just go out on up the Gráige and have morning and night prayer just down to the beach, interact, have some simple fun. And these are probably 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds that might be too cool for school when they come back into their own community, but they really do just become themselves, I suppose, in that type of environment. And
it's a great sense, I suppose, of creating community, that they're responsible for themselves
Absolutely.
To a certain degree. To a certain degree. But as well as that, as you said, touching into that sense of Irish culture, looking at areas around Dunqueen, like Galaris. Do you still do Brandon?
No, not at the moment. No, haven't. Could put it on the cards maybe for next year. We're always looking for different ideas and things change, I suppose.
Yeah, it does, and it does. And it's that sense, as you said, of community. Like 190 odd youngsters for over 2 weeks is a significant number of people to be kind of looking after, and but also, as you said, creating that wonderful sense of community, which when Father Michal was kind of started out, it was that idea of Muintearas, which is that idea of coming together in fellowship. It was Muintearas Iosa, and that idea of the three fires, Failte, Foghlaim and Guí, welcome, learning, and prayer together, which still imbues it. But each generation, one of the things you learn as Muintearas, because I'm Muintearas myself, or I used to be, is each generation of Muintearas makes of it their own, and they adapt it to their own time and their own place. And it's different for each. It's different for each generation of that comes and that experiences it, and that goes to Brúna Gráige and experiences that wonderful looking out on Farmarv and the Blasket Moor and seeing what that part of Slayhead is like. It is a wonderful place to be. But then he were no sooner finished in Kerry, packed up, cleaned up, brought everything back over to Limerick, than you were turning around and getting on a plane and heading to Rome. Jade, what was taking you to Rome?
What was taking us to Rome? A good question. We were going to Rome it was like a mini World Youth Day, so it was a celebration of youth for the Jubilee Year of Hope. It was absolutely amazing. Like, we stayed in the Pontifical Irish College, so Father Paul looked after us really, really well over there. Unbelievable comfort from what I can follow for a World Youth Day.
You just took the words out of my mouth. The fact that you ended up staying in the Irish College. Talk about creme de la creme for the equivalent of a youth World Youth Day. Go on.
Yeah, so we were very lucky. So Bishop Brendan was with us for the full week, and he carried us all over Rome, walked the legs off us in the boiling heat. But it was unbelievable. He gave us a full walking tour of Lourdes. We got to go to the 4 holy doors, which we were very, very lucky to go through all 4. That there was no queues. He took us at the right times, and we had wonderful catechesis each morning, which was lovely.
The catechesis got some, I was going to say, not necessarily international attention, but I think he got one as well from Bishop Robert Barron, which has gone kind of viral to a certain extent online, because he posted it on, and Bishop Barron has a lot of social media, and World on Fire have picked it up as well. But I think he was one of the ones that gave you some catechesis. Yes,
he gave us catechesis actually the first morning, so it was really a baptism of fire. It was unbelievable. To experience him, because he's so famous and he's so popular at the moment with young people and his opinions. So he was very, very good, and it was wonderful to be able to celebrate Mass with him afterwards also.
So the kind of the days in Rome, it was kind of obviously the pilgrimage to the Holy Doors and the catechesis, and then was there other events that were on during those couple of days?
Yes, so we had Mass in St. Peter's Square as well. One of the
that was the opening Mass where the Pope turned up out of nowhere.
Yes, out of nowhere on the Pope mobile. So that was lovely. That was really amazing. To get to see him so close. That was unbelievable. And then there was like various other events going on in Rome as well throughout the week.
Cultural events and concerts and things like that.
Yeah, like every place you go, there'd be music, there'd be people praying the rosary. We actually, with the Irish College, it was lovely. They organised the Stations of the Cross, but walking all through Rome. So it was fabulous.
So I presume you were meeting people, A, from all over Ireland, but B, then from around the world.
Yes, so getting to meet people from all over the world, and all of our young people were mad for swapping pins and flags and biros and everything with other young people from all over the world. I think one of our young people, did he meet, was it people from 190 something different countries? Was it James, I think?
Yeah, something like that. He set a target for himself, I think,
Yeah.
somehow or another.
Well, now there's only 194 at the UN, so
Yeah. So it was 100 and something countries anyway he met. So it was brilliant.
very good, very good. And you said, obviously, of course, that the closing event, obviously, of course, was the vigil and then the closing mass at Tor Vergata with Pope Leo. And the coverage, there was some coverage of it on different media platforms. The crowds were massive. I think you said it was like 1.2 million?
Yeah, 1.2 million people that were registered to be there. So it was unbelievable.
Well, considering it was only a Jubilee event and not a World Youth Day, that in itself is massive. But what did the vigil consist of, Jade? What was happening?
So the vigil, so we all got our places and set up camp, and then around 9 o'clock, was it around 7:30, between 7:30 and 9, James, I think?
Yeah, they're
We had our
thereabouts.
vigil.
Yeah.
So there was
yeah, it was
music and prayer, and was there benediction?
music, prayer, and benediction.
Yeah, there was,
Yeah. Exposition, because I saw one video, a friend of mine that was there, and she posted a video and she said, this is what it is like for 1.2 million people praying. It was just dead silence during the exposition.
Yeah. And I suppose for us, we were way back from, and you're relying on a huge, gigantic TV screen because there's no way of getting. Well, there is if you go early enough, I suppose, but it's the difficulty is you're way back, but it creates that sense. You could be the bones of a mile away from the main stage, and you still have that sense of prayer through the TV screens, and it's everybody being in that moment at that particular point in time. It's just amazing.
It was so lovely.
You might have been a while back, James, but I thought I saw a photograph of you getting fairly close to see the Pope the following morning.
Yeah, no, not this year. I'd say that we didn't get that close this year. That could have been back in Lisbon, probably in Portugal. We got very close. We were a little bit better organized back then, possibly. But I think this year, going from the different World Youth Days, I don't know, did they expect, I know you made reference to 1.2 million for a Jubilee year. I don't know, did they not expect that many young people? The biggest difficulty I found this year was that there was no designated areas at Tor Vergata, so it was literally first come and you try and find a spot, which was absolutely a little bit
chaotic.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, things were going quite well for us. We traveled there quite well. They got through the metro, no problem. Got to walk to the outskirts of Tor Vergata. And then we were 2 hours waiting to get in, So it was. That's the pilgrimage part of it, I suppose. In fairness,
right.
Yeah. But look, an experience.
Jade, was there anything from anything from Rome that you took away? Was there anything you heard in particular, a comment or a thought that was given that might have stayed with you?
I suppose Bishop Barron started talking about this young boy. I think I could be corrected in this now. I think he was about 4 years of age when he got diagnosed with cancer, unfortunately. And he was kind of questioning, why am I so sick and everything? And the way that Bishop Barron described it was that we'll all go through difficult patches, different times in our lives, but that God puts them there for us so that we'll be stronger people at the end of it. And that hope will never disappoint us. Hope is what we all need in our lives to continue on, to keep going each day.
Very good, very good. Sounds like it was a hectic but enjoyable series of events over the summer, Jade. James, as we heading back now into the autumn, I suppose, kind of if you're looking at your calendar, looking ahead, Obviously, the Inish program will be starting up again, so you might want to just explain to the listeners what Inish is.
Yeah, Nish is a youth leadership program that I suppose for us, it's a lot of the time it's our initial engagement with young people in transition years. So again, it's done through the schools, some TY young people. We take 8 young people from a school if they're interested in attending. They come and they'll spend a week with us in Castletown and County Laois in January. And the expectation is after doing a leadership program for a week, they'll come back and they'll do a project either in the school or in their local community that's for the benefit of themselves or their parish or their local community. And that in turn leads on to some of the other projects that we have then. We try and stay in contact with them, but it's our initial engagement with them. And from a lot of the time, we wouldn't have probably seen them until such time as they might have been doing a confirmation retreat or been in primary school. So it's our first engagement. We've also, I suppose, just recently, within the last week, held a first year mass. Bishop Brendan Leahy celebrated first year masses in Kilmallock, in Newcastle West, and in the Cathedral across 3 days for students in first year. So again, it's trying to just offer that connection to young people. And to, I suppose, for all of us to keep that connection up. So at all times we are trying to make that connection. We've got a leadership training program happening the 17th, 18th, and 19th of October as well, where we're going to train leaders to facilitate our programs. So that will be happening at a 3-day program in October. So we're preparing for that as well. And we're also, I suppose, starting a support group for 6th years. So anybody that's in obviously doing an exam this year, they're more than welcome to contact us. We meet every 6 weeks or so, and it is very relaxed. We did think that they might need support around leaving certain things, but they just want to get away from everything that's school-based and just be together and just kind of get away from that aspect of it. So it ran very successfully last year, and we're hoping to roll that out again this year.
And then, of course, also one of the things that's there and which has been really embraced by some of the schools across the diocese is the JP, the John Paul II program.
Yeah, very much so. And again, I suppose herein lies some of the difficulties in that a number of schools have picked up on it and will do it. It's a program that creates engagement either at school level or parish level, where students will commit to doing a number of hours that will help out in their parish or in their school, and they'll either get a bronze, silver, gold or papal cross award at the end of it from the diocese, depending on the amount of hours that they do and commit to. But again, like that, it's school-based for the most part, and we certainly would welcome any parishes that might have the wherewithal or a contact person that might be willing to put themselves forward just to be the connection and to try and roll the program out there. It really is a positive way of getting young people involved.
Okay, perfect. Jade, in terms of just last thoughts, if anyone was listening this morning, what would you say to them about getting involved with things that are coming up over the next couple of months?
I'd say just embrace it. Like if you've never been involved in Muintearas before, and if you're 16, 18, in your early 20s, just do it. The connections you make, absolutely unbelievable. The friendships you make, they're just amazing. And it's great just to have a safe space where you can just talk about your faith and be with like-minded people. Like there's no point going through life saying, oh, I wish I did this and I wish I did that. Just go out there and do it, and I just promise you that you won't regret it.
I think that's on that positive note we'll close things out. Now, John, I think we had a piece of music suggested to close out this part of the programme.
We do. Just before we finish off that, thank you very much indeed for sharing that, guys. Just one question just going through my own mind. If somebody does want to make contacts with the youth ministry, is the first point of contact their parish, maybe the pastoral council or the priest in the parish, or how? You know, somebody might be listed this somewhere and wouldn't know how and when, how to make contact, how to do it.
Yeah, any of the above, John, they can go through their local priest, or they can contact me directly in the Diocesan Centre, all our details are up on our website, and the local priest will have our contact details as well.
Obviously, if it's a young person, we'd be saying check the socials.
Absolutely, good. Yeah, true. I'm just showing my age there that I don't remember that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and from time to time, maybe you might just pass on to us any sort of recommendations you might have in terms of resources for young people, whether that be maybe Bishop Barron, because we listen and we play Bishop Barron a lot, and I certainly heard that particular talk that he gave in Rome to the young people. It's very inspiring to anybody who wants to hear it. Keep on passing on those little messages to us, and we'll sort of pass them on to our own listeners. In the meantime, the piece of music that James we were chatting about early on, it might be an ideal one to play. It's by Hillsong United, and it's entitled "The Power of Your Love." So, until we meet again, guys, maybe not too long. You might come back and join us again sometime. Thanks a lot indeed for joining us.
Thanks, John.
And we'll talk to you again. Bye-bye now.
Appreciate that. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes.